Don't be
I'm not
just a jerk.
interrupting. I waited.
You
I
are
waited till-
wrong. It's not pseudoscience, but at least be a man and have something to say. Don't just be a dick, okay?
I'm not being a dick. This whole shit
Yes,
is
you
made
are.
up.
If all you're
This
gonna do
whole
is say it's pseudoscience without actually knowing what you're talking about, you're just being a dick.
There's no. This has no scientific backing to
Yeah,
it.
you
Of
kind
course
of
it has
shitting
scientific
on the
backing.
whole
What are you talking
conversation,
about?
Jeremy.
Of course it
Like
does.
you shitting
I'm
on
just
the
telling
whole
Be an
you, I don't know
adult,
why you
Jeremy.
can't-
Actually have an
All
adult
right, never
argument.
mind.
Come on.
You guys are all spiraling. All right, never mind.
No, have an
Good.
adult argument for once.
It's
Yeah,
measured.
that's kind of fucked up, Jeremy. You kind of just shat on
It's
the whole
Einstein.
convo,
It's we've done experiments. It's the Lorentz invariance. All of it is scientific. You're
It's
a fucking
measured.
idiot when you say stuff like that.
It's measured on a daily basis, Jeremy.
Right, and that's the over the head my stuff that I really love and I'm interested in, but I can't get to yet because there's, I need to lay foundations now, Coach. So if you could maybe grant me a little leeway in thinking from my perspective, I agree with you. You definitely did say that everything is going to be different, right? Like which does entail physicality, okay, but like you said, like everything is going to be experienced time slower because of relative, and I kind of was like, well, what does that mean? Everything is slower. You know what I mean? I felt like that's where we had a disconnect. Maybe I was wrong, and you telling me it's not just because the physical things are happening differently. That's where I thought we got disconnected. But
I told you what that meant, though, Don. That's what pisses me off.
But since we're agreeing from the beginning,
how that presents itself and what it means.
well, then why do I feel like you were? If we're agreeing kind of from the beginning, and I was trying to give the hypothetical of the thing not going far away, but still moving fast, and therefore physical things happening differently. Why were we disagreeing there?
I wasn't even disagreeing or saying you're wrong. I'm saying this is what's happening. You're telling me I'm wrong. That's what's happening. I'm just telling you what's happening. All that's happening is you're in two different frames because you're moving two different speeds, and so as a consequence, you're moving two different rates through time. That's all that's happening, and you can mix and match whatever rates through space you're moving through to decide who's moving faster or slower through time. But if you're moving at different rates of speed through space, you're gonna move at different rates of through time. That's all.
All right. So keep in mind, I was asking. I wasn't just jumping in to tell you wrong. I was asking, what does it mean? And then I guess I was saying when I started with the you're wrong, I was, I guess, saying you're wrong, understanding what the hypothetical I wanted to present is, and so then that's my fault for being thinking we were disagreeing or whatever. I'm trying to fight you so much. Yeah, but definitely we're agreeing that when things accelerate, the atoms move slower in them. Is that what
the thing is?
We're all agreeing on?
Complicated. It's like another level of complicated. But when you
But that's what I want to talk about.
No, this is what I'm saying, though, Don. When you're talking about accelerating, you're talking about general relativity. And we're talking about just moving at different rates through space. You're talking about special relativity.
Exactly. I want to keep it.
It's only slightly more complicated when you talk about accelerating, but it's really the same concept.
I hope you all stop and listen to this back and see how fucking ridiculous you sound.
No, but we should have an
But
adults only
you
hour.
just
You have to be an
wasted
adult.
2
Who doesn't
hours of
feel
your
bad?
Don.
You've
So,
just
Scott.
wasted 2 hours of your fucking life.
You're a flat
You're
earther.
speed
Don't talk
up,
about
you're
wasting
gonna go
time
a
thinking stupid things.
trillionth of a fucking second faster in 100 years. I can't
You've
believe
literally
that
been
you
listening
lot
to the whole
are
convo. What do you mean
fucking
wasting time?
educated.
You've been sitting there listening, not saying anything for 2 hours. What do you mean wasting
Fucking
time?
lunacy.
All right, so can we shut Mr. Shouty up?
Okay, Babbitt, thank you for your contribution, but if you don't have anything else other than that to add, we're going to ask you to stop saying that, please.
Contribute to what? Deciding whether we go at
70 years.
the speed of light.
Hey, Coach,
We're
when it
gonna
comes to interrupting
speed
people,
up
we
by
need a
a
fucking team,
trillionth
especially
of
when
a
it's me.
second
Can you
in
guys just
100
stop
years.
fucking talking for a minute? I'm trying to talk to Don.
Fuck's sake.
Jesus, fuck.
You do not realise how fucking ludicrous you sound.
Thank you, Brian.
I do realize
So
that.
I've got a question for
Unfortunately,
Mr.
I
Scott.
took the opportunity. Sorry.
Fucking
Oh, Grim's trying to talk
nonsense.
to. Let Grim say what he's saying first. Babbitt, please shut the fuck
Yo,
up. You're not
Grim,
adding anything.
turn your
And
mic
then
up.
after that, Moyak has something to say.
Do you see
Can't.
what they've done to you?
Go ahead, Grim.
Stop talking over me for a minute. I'm not going to be in here yelling all day. So check this out, Don. There's a book called Escaping Einstein. Ronald Hatch, the guy who augmented the GPS programs because Einstein's theory didn't work correctly.
Right.
And the reason why we have GPS that works so well today is because of Ron Hatch. And he wrote a book called Escaping Einstein, and he talks very clearly about what he had to do outside of Einstein's theory, which did not work for this time dilation issue. Thank you.
All right, so
Very
Scott,
good
if you were to fly in a spacecraft away from Earth at, let's say, near the speed of light, time's going to go. You're going to experience time slower. Now, if you start traveling back to Earth from, let's say, you've gone a year of dilation, and now you come back to Earth. Now the Earth appears to be moving faster. So would that nullify the time
No,
dilation? You'd come back and have experienced the same amount of time?
no, I don't think so. No.
Say that
He's saying if you go fast away from the Earth and then come back to the Earth fast, do you think is time the same for when you get back? Did you? But it's not. It's bi-directional. So
it's not the same. It's not
if
the
you-
same. Yeah.
yeah,
Because
it's-
you're moving different directions in space, but not in time. Your arrow of time hasn't
No, this is not
Gone
special
backwards.
relativity.
that's general relativity. 'Cause like I said, if you're the one doing the accelerating and you're the one accelerating back, then you're the one experiencing the slower rate through time. But if you were going at a constant rate away from each other and a constant rate back, then you're right. The time dilation would.
No.
Yeah.
You don't change directions in special relativity. One way only.
What do you mean one way only?
You don't. What are you talking
One
about?
way.
But
Two
what
moving
do-
objects
you
have
don't even
constant
notice what's being
and
said.
constant speed. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
I don't think you
special
understand what we're
relativity.
saying.
You can't
Things
stop.
and then-
You can't change directions.
Yes, you can.
No, it's not in special
I'm not
relativity.
If I'm
I'm not sure what you're saying. You can fly fast. You can fly in any direction you want. You can change directions when you're flying
That's
fast.
not special relativity.
I don't know what you mean by that, but you'll still
Special relativity talk about what happened to
You'll still experience the
to-
effects of time dilation, though.
I don't care, but
That's
that's
what
not
we're saying. That's
special
our point.
relativity talks about.
Okay, but that's not our point. Our point was not
Why
to
are you
classify
guys
special
interrupting so
relativity as
much?
topic areas. Our point was to say what we said, which
Why
is
do the
different
mods
than.
in here interrupt everybody so much?
The clocks
I
run a
don't know,
little
Graham.
differently.
Why do you whine so much, Graham? That's a good question.
The clocks run a little bit
Probably
differently when they move
Because I'm on
fast.
my
That's what
and
they
you start
mean.
talking, still talking, shit, acting like I've been fucking interrupting people. That's probably why.
Graham, you interrupt plenty. Just say what you want to say. I just cleared a path for you. You said what you want to say,
Yeah.
then you were done, and now you're mad again.
Check.
So clocks run differently because they're running fast, probably because they're buffeting the ether, the substance of space, making the cesium clocks vibrate differently, giving you a different time.
Well, that's not right. But in the example that was just given by Moyak or whoever, if they're traveling at the same rate, they're not accelerating, but just traveling at some velocity away from each other, and they travel back toward each other, they would have an experience. They're going to notice that their clocks aren't any different at all, because they would have technically they would have experienced the time dilation as they were away from each other, but they would have basically canceled it out as they came back towards each other. But if one body was accelerating away from another one and they accelerated back towards it, that would be the only one that would experience the slower time. So that'd be
The cesium clocks need to have cesium atoms that vibrate to give you time. Every 1,000 vibrations, it would be made to register 1 second. It would have like 999 vibrations instead of 1,000 per unit if it's going through ether at a different pressure. So mechanically, the workings of the clock would change because it can't vibrate at the same rate because it's going through a thick, treacly ether. So there's no need.
I can give you 3 other examples of time dilation, not just cesium clocks. If you shine a laser at the bottom of a tower, back to the top of a tower, back and forth, you can experience time dilation by the light itself changing wavelengths.
That's going through the trickly ether up and down at that point. It's the same application.
Can I put the
Up, down,
hypothetical
left,
back?
right, fast, slow. It's the same thing.
I want to put the hypothetical back on the table, Kosho, because I really wanted to talk about the actual what we think the physical phenomenon that's happening is, right? Like, for instance, my man gave me the 3-party example, right? Where he said him, me, and Scott are, two standing there and then one's blah, 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 blah. So, and then we also kind of admitted that you can have outside, you can create a perspective of looking at the whole universe at once, but you still need to hold on. But you're still going to have to match things to compare things to each other on saying, well, this thing is relative to that thing, that this thing's aging different than that thing. You're the third party. You don't even have to be the whole universe. You could just be a third party looking at the two different things. So it's like, now we ask ourselves, well, these two different things are aging differently. Now we talk about why, what physically is happening, right?
Traveling through time at different rates than you as the observer. If you're the third reference, then you're not the universal reference, because that doesn't exist. But you're a third reference relative to those two other references. So because of the speed of light and the speed of causality, you can't even receive information from those systems, those references, faster than the speed of light. So it's those things have the consequences of you experiencing time differently. So there's never going to be a situation where you can just be an outside frame and just see how they're,
right. I get you.
Time reference to the other one.
So if you're going to say,
action at a distance, right?
Right.
Isn't
so if he's
that
going
like
to say, yeah, you're at a distance, and it has to come into you, right?
Spooky.
If it has to come into you, therefore to be comparative, and you're, there was, light had there was distance, and light is a constant, so therefore it looks different to you as the third party. Why now, when we bring it back to when we send the clock out and bring it back, it's right in front of us now. What physically happened there then? You get what I'm saying? What physically was happening in the middle? We weren't looking at it in the middle.
It doesn't have to be a person. The person doesn't have to be with the clock. It doesn't have to be an actual observer. It's the clock itself, or whatever. It could be an apple, and there could be fungus on it or bacteria on it. It takes like a day or two for the bacteria to eat up the apple or whatever.
Yeah, that's good.
The amount of time for that.
Yeah, but Kosho, how do you know that?
The amount of time for that to happen is still.
This is about the theory.
Yeah, let's grant it to him. Let's grant hypothetically.
And that frame is going to be slower than your frame.
Okay, so what do you think physically happened to the clock when it was away from you to when now it's back? Why? What mechanism? What do you think made the mechanism operate at a slower rate? Because it had nothing to do with you observing the light. Go ahead. Sorry.
The issue is the conception of space-time, because you can imagine what it's like to be moving through space faster than somebody else. Like you're moving through space at two different rates. You know what I mean? You can imagine this, like two bodies in space moving through space at different rates, but it's hard to conceptualize moving through time at different rates. You know what I mean? And that's
correct.
So you don't know?
No, I'm saying like this is hard to conceptualize or describe in a.
What he's saying is that the difference is no different than if you move through space at two different rates, which is easy to get. You get that. It's no different than that. It's the same thing. What's different between these things is they move through time at different rates. And I don't know if this will help or hurt, Dom. I think this will help. We could also talk about this exact phenomenon, just talking about the clock on the first floor of my loft and the clock on the second floor of my loft. They experience time at different rates. They have time dilation between them. So we don't need to make things go fast or anything. We can just look at two clocks that are basically, doing the exact same thing. They're stationary relative to each other. Yeah, well,
can I ask Scott? Can I ask? Are you talking because of altitude? Is it because of altitude? You're saying?
Yeah,
because of gravitational potential. Yeah.
Okay. So now we actually start talking about a physical cause, which is what I want to talk about. That's what I think is the most interesting thing to be respected here, is the different physical causes, right? Okay. We can say, there's these perspective theories that we can obviously call it time, right? Because all these variables are clustered as constants, like literally existence. Every variable of existence is clustered here and all shifts together equally. Sure. But when we bring it back relative and we do the comparisons, there are physical differences, right? So, so gravity, what is the lesser gravity doing to the other clock that making time happen
Bending
slower.
space-time.
Space-time less because it's not existent there. But the more it warps space-time, the slower your time's going to go.
It's kind of the same thing as if you move through space at different rates. There's going to be a difference when you do that. You'll be at a different spot than somebody else. That's the physical difference. What's the difference? You guys are in different locations. Now, what happens with time? Same exact thing. You guys are in, what's the difference physically? You guys are in different time locations. You guys move through time at different rates and ended up desynchronized or no longer the same spots, basically.
That's a great description.
Gave time physical attributes.
John, you got to listen to that. If you can grab that.
I know that, but
no,
why?
If you think about it, why do you got to talk over me? I'm just trying to say that Veach made a good point. Focus on that because that's a way to actually understand time or space-time warping.
Dude, I get the hypotheticals, man.
It's not a hypothetical. It's what happens.
And besides
I
the
that
time,
from the beginning.
It's a description. It's an equivalence. It's an equivalence of what warping of space-time is actually doing.
He said it much more eloquent than me, but I said that from the very beginning. I said the comparative perspectives and everything. I'm with it.
Nick Jackie wants to get back in.
if you talk about special relativity, distances changes too, not just time.
That's true. Like length contraction, stuff like that, right?
Well, that's kind of what you said, Veach, right? You said two different positions in the same amount of time.
That's right. I mean, length contraction and time dilation are basically the same thing from different, two sides of the same coin.
Right, but
also explaining special relativity is much easier than explaining what's happening in general relativity and warped space-time because of gravitational or acceleration or something like that. Because explaining it in reference to your speed being different, it's actually pretty easy to conceptualize. It's very hard to conceptualize general relativity.
Okay, two things. Go ahead.
I think it's kind
I
of.
was going to say, Don, are you familiar with the barn and the pole that is both inside the barn and outside the barn at the same time?
We have talked about it. Yes, I don't totally. I'm willing to fight these concepts because they are still just theories, and I hope that we can respect that. But if we have a clock that ticks to 100 in one apple unit, you know what I mean, and we have two identical ones of these things, and one apple they're going to tick 100. Then you put one up on the second floor, right? And if we're just from the first floor's perspective is one apple, that second floor clock exaggeratedly is only going to tick 99 ticks, right? Because of the gravity difference or whatever you're saying. That's a physical thing. You don't have to go into all this all this other stuff. Like, you can just attribute it to a physical difference from a third party perspective that's looking at both of you.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, can't you? Is what I said.
Third party perspective is an even different perspective than both those. It's not like an objective perspective. It's just
right. You guys, you guys are tearing down an objective perspective, basically, and that's fine. I get that you're all united in doing that.
No, it's not that. This is the entire principle behind relativity, behind Einstein's theory, behind even quantum field theory. That's
I get it.
Between the ether and quantum field theory is the ether was a universal frame, and quantum field theory corroborates special relativity, saying there is no universal frame.
So one accepts that there is a universal background frame and one denies it on philosophical grounds.
Exactly.
Saying that there can be no universal frame of any sort. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that they not on philosophical grounds, on the grounds that this is the way it works. This is the way they found it to work, and this is the way in which it's explained.
You denied the.
The only reason why I say that, Kosho, is philosophically, if you deny that there's a universal frame, you're not going to be prepared to find it. Because if it did exist, you would not be able to separate it out and prove its existence by putting it in a cup, since it would be like the fish in water that's everywhere trying to separate out the water. It would be impossible philosophically, even if it did exist, to explore it unless you assume it exists or just, philosophically declare that it doesn't. But you need to have a framework that allows exploration, don't you?
There was a universal frame. It would make all of that field of physics infinitely easier. There would be a universal frame to reference things off of.
No, we can't get in the universal frame.
So
Maybe.
there's no universal frame that's possible because they're looking for particles everywhere. A particle, by its very nature, needs to be separated from the surrounding medium and/or
Lemon?
nothingness. So there would be
Lemon?
no universal frame, only eternal separation. So philosophically, there will never be a universal frame right there. Not if you have that starting philosophy that it has to be particulate and
Okay,
separate.
Lemon, please. Lemon.
100%.
If mass
by the
goes
way,
to infinity as you approach
Lemon,
the speed of light, hold
if
on.
there was a, if
I
there
was
a
asking Lemon a
universal
quick question.
background. I know, but you kind of stepped in on me. You guys heard me.
Grim
trying to
first,
get
then
in.
Zanuck. Grim, what were you saying?
I said, so if there was a universal background, then virtual particles would be bouncing in and out of existence, dude. That's weird.
Isn't it weird? And then Zanuck, I was gonna just ask you. Okay, do you guys know about the hatch thing that Grim was talking about, the denying Einstein? Any of the top ballers?
Well, I want to ask Lemon if mass goes to infinity as you approach the speed of light, then if you're absolutely not moving in some universal reference frame, is mass zero?
Well, mass wouldn't just go to infinity. You need to absorb energy from the ether, and if you absorb so much energy from the ether, the substrate will burn up and convert into something else, and so your mass would disappear or become something else that you must measure. So that's not possible.
You just make stuff up and just for the hell of it.
I think the entropy burns off.
For an object
Burn
to
off all the
move,
entropy.
it has to gather energy from the surrounding ether. If it gathers so much energy, it would simply burn up, dissipate, or convert into something else.
Again, the principle of relativity explains how motion, speed, velocity is in reference to something else. So, we talk about moving the speed of light or close to it. You're talking about that moving at that speed in reference to something else.
It's in reference to space-time. Always into space-time. You don't have. Yeah, to me, it is. To me, guys.
You don't know what's space-time.
No, to me, that's what the fabric thing moving is in its position to the other piece of space-time that it was just. That's how I. No. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. We don't.
How do you measure it? How do you measure it?
I don't measure it. I don't care about that.
Don't measure it.
So anyway, I don't care.
You're moving relative to something that you can't measure.
We all know the universe could have its limits. We all know the universe could have its limits. We all know what an objective perspective is. It doesn't matter if there is a simulator actively looking at it, or if it's just existing how it is. And I'm sorry, I'm just the average Hmong, but I hope my logic is sound enough to stand on what it's trying to say.
Thing is,
but I want real quick. So what do you guys know about the escaping Einstein thing that I'm going to look into right now?
Ask him.
You're gish galloping, Don. You talk about.
So y'all don't know about it?
No.
You're gish galloping, Don.
I'm not gish galloping.
You talked about one thing, then you rolled into some other completely different topic. Listen. Why do you think
know about it? They're scared of it, and this is how they're obfuscating.
Why do you think we are measuring?
I'm standing strong. Don't ask me those questions. I'm not a physicist, motherfucker.
Unbelievable. Why do you think we can measure parts of the universe moving faster than the speed of light?
Don't know, don't care.
Because the ether is under different amounts of strain, giving you different amounts of waves of what we call the speed of light. Tighter the ether, probably the faster the propagation of the wave. The looser the ether, aka the more particles it's mixed up with, the slower the propagation or whatever. It's probably based off of the quality of the background ether.
So we know this.
Exactly, and it still could be an objective.
Just like I stated to you before,
nice answer.
There's no background. There's no background universal medium. This can't possibly be the case.
It's space-time. It's space-time.
So that was just simple.
It's not space-time.
But the thing is, so we went over philosophically. It's possible to prove.
Hold on, Lemon.
Space-time is the medium.
Space-time is described as being relative. This is what relativity is based on. It's based on space-time. Okay. So also quantum electrodynamics is based on special relativity, which is based on the.
I describe it as a universal medium, Coach.
It's not static. I mean,
Coach, but I describe it as a universal medium. You're denying my science. You're denying my very plausible logic. It's very plausible.
How is it plausible, Don?
There's a universe. It has the fabric of space-time, which everything exists within. It's simple plausibility. What's wrong with
this
that?
can be measured. Don't you think that you could be measuring your speed in reference to some stationary background?
I think we're toying with it right now. I think that once we do 10 million times stronger than what James T. Kirk did and going nowhere else where no man has gone before, then we'll actually have, maybe a 1 sigma understanding of it. You know what I mean? And right now, I think you're at 0.00000001. So why are you even fucking talking about it?
Well,
My
Kosho,
logic still stands.
Kosho, I'm just talking about the philosophical problems when you're dedicated to relativity, saying there cannot be an absolute frame. If the frame was there, you'd be in no position to discover it because, like the fish in water, it would be so universal you wouldn't be able to separate it out particulate as a particle or any sort of a separate quantity in a cup or whatever. So philosophically, you have a bit of a problem there because you're not prepared for any discovery anyway.
That's absolutely.
You know why it feels no different sitting on your chair right now, or being on a train going 200, or being on a plane going 600 miles per hour? Why
it does feel different.
at all?
You have sensitive
because of the quality.
You're absolutely incorrect. That's a malformed question.
It feels no different at all.
Yes, it does.
No, if you're going at a constant rate, it feels no different whatsoever.
I'll answer that by talking about the ether.
True,
When you're
because
at rest, Kosho, you're not absorbing energy from the ether.
It's not true, Kosho. This is where we've talked about this is an inconsistency right here in constant velocity.
You're not absorbing energy from the ether, Kosho, if you're not moving.
Wake up.
Lemon, hold on. This is the most important part now, is that you and your watch and all those situations are experiencing the exact, you would feel and experience the exact same thing as if you were in any of the other situations. The only difference is when you meet up at the end and you realize how far you've traveled, how fast you were going, or how fast through time you're going, you realize you were going at different rates.
Then feeling is not objective. Feeling is subjective. So therefore, quote unquote, objectively, you felt differently. Objectively. You need to look for the objective perspective, like Lemon is talking about. You're like a fish in the water that doesn't emit the waters.
You're gonna obviously get a chance to speak when I'm finished, dude. Why do you always do that?
When I'm jumping in with the passion, why can't you understand that's probably the point where you concede and take?
I'm disengaging, buddy. Okay. You got no respect, dude. You demand it for yourself. You jump in and fucking demand that you get to speak over everybody, but they can't. They don't get to finish what they're fucking saying.
I do cry to get the mic. Other than that, no politics. Anyway,
except for you also interrupt like crazy, like you just did. It was not fair what you just did. You gotta not do that stuff.
Kosho, we feel like you aren't hearing this point, and we're trying to beat it into you. Like,
yeah, that's the problem, dude.
Well, that's a mistake. That's a mistake. It's a terrible idea. Never try to beat something into somebody in the debate. What you need to do is try to understand where the disconnect is, because you know he's not an idiot. You know you're not an idiot. Neither one of you are idiots. So where's the disconnect?
It's like we're talking about an objective perspective. Then we get into a subjective mindset of saying what would feel. But then we talk about, well, actually,
right now, I'd be playing your game.
Go ahead.
Don, for the 15,000th time, you're the one claiming there's an objective perspective.
And I can prove it.
Only subjective perspective.
I'll prove there's an objective perspective.
That's the whole point.
Hold on, Don. Listen to what he's saying, though.
When we each had our own experiences on the train, on the plane, and sitting on our chair, looking at our watches, you experience the exact same thing every time. It's not only true. It's only when you compared your experience with the other frames. Do you experience that? Do you realize that something different was happening? That you weren't
guess who can compare them? An objective observer. That's who gets to compare them.
That's not an objective observer. That's just a third party. The third observer. It's not objective.
The simulator could be the objective observer.
Yes, but then you fiated the existence of objectivity, which we're saying we don't know. We're saying inside the universe that
the simulator is there or
not. That isn't apparent.
The happenings of everything that happened, even though it felt like it was the same, but it's going to turn out different when we actually look at it with a more sensitive instrument. Right?
To Don. What you're doing when you do that is you're saying, assuming there's an objective perspective, then there's an objective perspective.
Logically,
when you say a simulator,
you don't have
hold
to
on, let me
assume
finish.
it.
Don, let me just finish, okay? When you say a simulator is looking at us, you already have a priori right then in that moment created an objective frame that's
It doesn't matter if
outside
he's looking
of the universe.
It's the happenings of everything that happens. It's saying that there is only one realm. There is only one standing universe that you can put an objective reality on. I don't know why you guys are trying to throw that away. Lemon is saying it so eloquently. He's
I don't
giving
understand. Did you understand what I said, though?
Water. I don't know why y'all are missing it.
Did you understand what I just said, though?
Absolutely, and it's fine to do that, but it's only one.
But if you do that, if you assume, if you fiat into existence an objective reality that's outside the universe, outside of our universe, then what is the point? You fiated something we don't know to be true, then you conclude it's true.
You guys, the thing is the philosophy of objective reality. That's it. The fact of
that's a fragment.
Having a concept that they're being standing physical properties that are understood that are going to be affecting each other or not affecting each other, mismatch and pulling on each other in different ways.
Dude, what are you trying to say? You're not even saying full sentences.
You don't have to assume an objective perspective. You can conjure one.
Well, if you assume it, though, then of course there's an objective perspective, the one you assumed.
So anyway, it doesn't matter if it's an outside, where they are, as long as things are being compared to each other, right? And here's what I find to be disrespectful to the logic. You guys assume an assumption of quote unquote everything is happening the same, right? That's what's called.
No.
Well, okay, Kosho said it that way.
What
we're assuming is that the speed of light is constant.
No,
the speed of light being constant is where everything falls from.
You gave two examples of people doing something relative to each other and said
from their frame it's the same. Yeah.
Say that again.
From their frame, the same experience, the same amount of time, the same everything. That from their frame, things moved at the regular, like the rate at which you experienced 10 seconds or 10 minutes. Like that was the same. Not in reference, not each other's, like my frame and your frame, everyone's frame. It's all the same. And your single frame, no matter how fast you're moving or what's going on, you're going to experience it a minute as a minute. That's what's meant. But my minute and your minute are going to be different if we're traveling at different speeds. When we compare them afterwards.
Exactly.
It's not going to be the same.
Different. Okay. That's what I'm trying to say is, so since we know when we compare them afterwards, they're going to be different. There was a different physical passage of time or physical, however that happens. And whether it be the atom vibrations or what the gravity, whatever is underlying making that happen, you know that there's a difference when compared, right? So I find it bad logic and malformed, assertion that in the beginning to say everything looked like it was happening the same to them, because on some level underneath the every little atom is acting differently. If again, I guess when they're compared to each other, or if there was a third party conjured watching, but like that's what I feel is the logical break right there, dude. And everyone just eats that shit up.
Don't go read the only two postulations of special relativity. There are only two. They are very simple. And the first one is the laws of law of nature are equal in all frame of reference. You can't tell the difference.
And the second one was a guess.
Exactly.
No.
You put it together.
The second one is a guess.
Bring them
It's
together.
a postulate. If you find it not to be true, you get
What's
an
the
overprice.
second one, Chike?
You get an overprice. The speed of light is the same in all frame of reference.
That's the guess.
You say it's a guess. You can prove it
It
wrong.
is. You can't prove
You
it.
can go prove it wrong. Why
You
not?
can't prove it.
It's measurable.
Okay. Anyone that's not an idiot here knows your speed of light.
I think that's what it all is going to come down to: is the speed of light constant or not?
The first one was a guess too. You don't. He didn't know that.
The speed of light being a constant. That's I said. We missed the part earlier when the speed of light being a constant is a consequence of Maxwell's equations, which were known to have been absolutely correct based on the fact that they were practically shown to be true for like 40 years before Einstein. So it was known that they know that this is the case. This is the truth. And they were trying to cope with this up until Einstein. It wasn't until Einstein had come up with the consequences of light being constant and what that meant as a consequence for the rest of the universe did it become so profound. But it's profound because they tested his consequences and it turned out to be true. So it's true that the speed of light is constant, and the consequences of that are also true.
No, you don't know that the speed of light is constant. You haven't measured the one-way speed
We
of it.
don't know that it's
a
not.
pure guess. It's a total guess.
No, we don't know
It
that
is.
it's not.
It is. It's a
Because
guess.
Jeremy, all you need to do is to prove that it's not. That's all. It's very simple.
Yeah, all you need to do is measure the one-way speed of it. Let me know when you do that. Prove me wrong.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You're saying that you
No,
know
I'm
it
not
is
saying
and that
it's
a
wrong. I
fact.
don't need to measure it. I accept it's true.
Yeah, but you have no proof that you're just that's just your belief.
But why does that matter, Jeremy, when the two-way speed of light from here to the ISS, here to the moon, here to me to you, the way we're pinging our data back and forth, the two-way speed of light is shown to be constant. So who cares?
It's
what
a
the one-way
pretty
speed
safe
is?
assumption to say that the speed of light is constant, but I mean, you can't prove it, and it's a postulate resting on this huge thing that Einstein came up with that's fucking pure nonsense.
Maxwell, I said that's what Maxwell's equations what came with that constant speed of light. Actually, Maxwell's equations depend on the constant speed of light. They don't work unless there's a constant speed of light.
You guys heard this new fifth fundamental force thing?
What, dark energy?
No, it's another condensate. It's fermionian condensate.
No, not state of matter. Fundamental force.
Oh, sorry.
No, I think what Scott said I saw how there's another state of matter, which is new condensate. I saw that.
STFC from UK. Undiscovered. It's from a subatomic particle thing, but they said they got from the Muon G2 experiment. It's not conclusive, but they got it to 4.1 sigma.
You know what's crazy?
All right, well,
go ahead, man.
No, I was going to challenge. Just go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that Goldsteel had been talking about this for like over a year. He said that the thing to look out for is in these muon experiments, because that's where the new like breakthroughs in science breakthroughs in physics are gonna come from. Is like these muon experiences, the muon experiments that they're doing. So it's crazy that it happens to be this muon.
Okay, what's the natural observed? I hate to do this, but what's the natural observed phenomenon experiment?
Read the paper, dude.
Oh,
yeah,
Jesus
just tell me.
fucking Christ.
You'd have to
You
read
don't
it,
know?
you genius. Like, how
Does
would
he
we know?
even
We
have
didn't read the
one?
right paper.
Jeremy, you really
You don't
asking
have a
that for a
natural
fucking
observed-
experiment beyond most people's
And you need to also
comprehension.
be more adult about how you do this, because it's like it doesn't work like that anyway. It's not like they have to announce what their natural observed phenomena is every time.
Of course they do. If you're doing science,
No,
you
they
gotta
don't,
announce
Jeremy.
what
I
your
just told you they
natural-
don't. Why are you saying, of course they do? What would you know?
Hey, how's it
When
going?
have you ever even read a scientific paper? When have you ever learned how to do science? When have you ever done one of these things? You have no idea what you're talking about.
If you're about to do a science experiment, you need to state your
No,
natural
you don't.
observed phenomena.
Incorrect.
That
You're
would
wrong
be your
about that. Just
dependent
because QE
variable.
tells you that does not mean it's true.
Jeremy, who do you think you are telling
No, it's
scientists
false.
how to
You're
do
wrong.
science?
You've never done it. You've never been around people who've
Well, am
done
I
it.
coming
You've never
through?
read about it. You've never read the
Oh,
actual
God.
papers.
You're
You
all
don't know what you're
spiraling.
talking about.
You're
You've only
spiraling.
heard it from QE. You've
Yeah,
only
I'm
heard it
spiraling
from
because you keep
QE.
coming in here acting like a child, and you're just wrong.
It's
Get
not
smart.
a child. That's how we do science.
You guys
Pete.
have to
No,
That's
you've
how
never
you do
done
science.
science. How
Don't
would
say
you know?
we.
You've never done science in your life.
And don't,
It's
yeah,
how we
don't say
do
we.
science,
Jeremy.
No, you don't do
You don't
science,
tell
Jeremy.
us
You don't
when
know what
we're
you're talking about.
misbehaving.
Only one of you guys can
You
berate him.
literally are talking, making up shit as you go, pretending to be a scientist for some reason. You're LARPing as a scientist.
All right, one berate at a time. Go.
Yeah,
Get
you
him.
can't hear both of
I
you.
got a berate.
Fuck out of here, Grim.
I got a berate for Jeremy real quick. Jeremy, how many thousands of times I got to tell you this friggin' natural phenomena, your experiment? That's one factor in this hypothesis. It's not just.
Exactly. You don't even have to go there, man. You don't even have to go there. This is ridiculous.
Chris, shut up.
No, you shut up,
Just
prick.
jump in and talk shit.
I can talk. Anyone can jump in and talk. You fucking dickhead.
Yeah, but you only
don't
jump
run
in
this
and
server.
talk
You're not
shit.
the main attraction, Jeremy. You're a janitor who's telling scientists
main
how
attraction.
to do science. You're a fucking, you're a clown, man. You're
You
an
know how many fans I
actual
got?
fucking idiot.
You're confused about what QA told you. You don't even know what the scientific method is, and you continue. Thousands of people do.
You have to wait until he's paying attention to you. But he's not paying attention to you when there's 3 other people already attacking him.
I don't like taking away the objective perspective. I mean, I thought it was hypothetical if you zoomed into things instantly or whatever like that. I definitely get how y'all. I appreciate y'all's time on that. For real, I do.
We moved
I
on,
want
man,
people
but
to
I
think about
apologize.
it.
Hope we're
Thank
cool.
y'all.
Okay.
We'll battle it out.
You don't have to fucking take control of the conversation. Just let it go, man.
Punch him right in the gut right now if I saw him.
I'd give you a really hard hug.
Right in
dog.
it, dummy.
I give you the hardest hug ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, these rock hard ab.
I'm just getting down. We're cool, man. Don's one of the coolest people I think on here. You know, love him or hate him.
Who is Dawn? Oh, fuck off.
Regardless, yeah, this whole muon thing, Jeremy, we just found it for the first time. So unless Nick can describe it or Gold Steel, there's no point asking questions about it.
I mean, if it's an experiment, it's got to have a natural observer.
No, it doesn't, Jeremy. I just told you that. Stop being an idiot, Jeremy.
This is like Jeremy going into a fucking operating room, an operating theatre, telling a brain surgeon to fucking how to do his job. It's ridiculous.
Jeremy, the dependent variable just has.
And if you think about it, Jeremy, how would they not have something they noticed? I mean, it's like saying to do something, you have to have a thing that made you want to do it. Okay, sure. But something made them think that this would work in all their research and work, and so they did it. It's not like they have to put a big construction paper sign up that says our observed phenomena was, and then with glitter paint draw out what it was. They just do it.
Yeah, so this should be easy.
I'm saying is they just do it. There's no naming it. They're not going to tell us. They may not even know themselves. But when they get the idea to do the experiment and it makes sense to them, they do the experiment.
What's the hypothesis, Jeremy?
It'll be in the hypothesis of each.
What is the
hypothesis?
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Not necessarily.
Of course it is. Your
Jeremy,
natural observed phenomena is the effect.
Jeremy, how many hypotheses have you even read in your life? For fuck's sake, you don't know what you're talking about.
Your dependent variable is always in your hypothesis. You're trying to find.
Well, it doesn't have to be independent variable. The independent variable is not necessarily related to your observed phenomenon.
You have to have an independent variable when you're doing an experiment. You have to have an experiment when you're doing natural science.
Well, yes, you do with experiment, controlled experiment, but it's not necessarily your independent. Your natural phenomena. It has nothing to do with that. And I may not even know what
you're dependent. That's where you get your dependent variable.
Wrong. You're wrong about that.
You're wrong.
Can I just real quick say this?
Chris, shut
Jeremy,
the fuck up, Chris. You just jumped in just to try to berate me.
Everyone jumps in, you fucking dickhead. That's how it works. What's your independent variable with your stick experiment?
Just go away, bro.
What's your independent?
Jeremy, stop gatekeeping. Just listen to what he has to say.
Bro, he just comes in to berate me like he hasn't even been here.
You just come in here to talk crazy shit to us. So, like, it all goes around.
It's not crazy shit.
Yeah, what is your perspective? You should try to focus on one person at a time. So you're
like Chris just wants to sit here and talk shit. I'm not into that. I'm gonna just mute him.
What is your independent variable for your stick experiment?
Right now now this is a red herring onto this other thing.
How's it a red herring?
Because we're talking about your guys' experiment. Now you want to talk.
But I'm asking about you. But I'm asking. I'm trying to determine what you understand about independent variables, and hypotheses.
Clearly more than you do.
No, you don't.
Right, well, if you do, you know more than me, then you'll have no problem telling me what your independent variable is for your stick experiment.
That's not an experiment. It's a measurement. You don't need an
Is it,
independent
is it a
variable
measurement?
for a
Is it?
measurement, dickhead.
You're not doing an experiment, you're doing a measurement.
Yeah, you're a dickhead.
Measurements aren't science.
Measurements
still a
aren't
dickhead.
science.
Curie, not hold on, Janet. Curie said science are experiments.
I don't care
I'm
what
not doing
Curie
science.
said.
I'm doing a measurement.
Well, is measurement part of validating your hypothesis? See,
I
all
don't
these
have a
things you're
hypothesis.
confused.
This is just
You're
a
so
measurement.
confused, Jeremy. You've
I'm
got to
not
understand that
confused.
in an experiment.
You're
Stop it for a
confused.
second. No, let
guys
me
are
explain to you real
strawmanning
quick.
a lot of them.
Real
Yes,
quick.
they are.
Experiment has an independent and dependent variable. The only thing that we have to understand is that the independent variable has an effect on the dependent variable. It's part of the experiment. The experiments are used to substantiate and validate your hypothesis, and then
I know.
and even further
I
your
know how it
theory.
works. Why are you telling
No,
me?
no, you keep on talking about people talk about some very complicated theories. You say, "What's your observed phenomena?" Like a freaking parrot. That's what QE does. That's stupid.
You got a theory. You
It's
must have
fucking
you must have
stupid.
had an experiment.
No. You just got to tell me you understand, and now you're telling me you don't. Again,
No,
Jeremy,
I
in an
understand that
experiment.
if you have a theory,
No,
if
you
you
don't.
have a scientific
Stop.
theory,
Explain to me.
you're going to absolutely.
No. Stop it.
Are you ever going to
No,
stop
stop.
talking?
No, I'm going to ask you a quick question. In an experiment, what are the two factors? What are the
Factors?
two variables?
There's
Sometimes
three.
Let's talk about the main
There's
two.
three.
Let's talk about two. Forget about the control variables. What's the two main variables?
Zanuck, you know I know what they are.
No.
Why are you
I
doing
want to
this?
hear it from you because I want you to hear yourself say it so you can stop fucking telling us what's your observed phenomena, what's your dependent variable. It doesn't work that way in science. It just doesn't. And QE's wrong.
It does.
And you're as
You
wrong as
have
he
a
is.
dependent variable. You make a hypothesis.
No,
You
you're
go on
wrong.
to test your hypothesis. That's
No.
why it's called the experiment.
No, you mentioned dependent variable before you mentioned the experiment. You have your hypothesis.
Yeah, you have to have a dependent variable.
No, you don't. You have it backwards, Jeremy. It goes the other
Jeremy,
way.
they test confidence levels and
Just
falsify.
listen for a second, and
The
I'll
dependent variable comes in the experiment phase. You figure it out then.
There you go.
Your
There you go.
dependent
You have
variable
your
comes in the
hypothesis,
experiment phase.
which is the
Yes,
story.
you don't have it first.
No,
That's
it's in
part of
your
what you're going to come up with.
hypothesis. It's
No, Jeremy.
No, it's not in your
Jeremy, we've done
hypothesis.
this
It's in the
before. You haven't.
experiment.
Trust us.
way before the experiment. Way before.
We've done it before, and you haven't,
No.
Jeremy. We know what we're talking about. You don't.
Well, you clearly didn't do it right.
Well,
Jeremy,
how would you know? You've never done it.
you've
I
I
never
know how
done
it works.
science in
Just
your
because I
life.
don't.
Jump on it.
Jeremy, you have the hypothesis.
Wait for it.
I thought that was opening. Jeremy, real simple. You have a hypothesis, which is a story, and you prove the story to people by experimentation. And each one of those experiments has a dependent variable and an independent variable. And each one of those little experiments, little tests, little measurements, whatever you want to call them, the independent variable affects the dependent variable. And then the accumulation of all these experiments should validate your hypothesis. It's that simple. Fuck.
Calm down,
Isn't
Zanuck.
that simple?
Calm
It's
fuck
like
down.
nails in the chalkboard for everybody. When you start parroting QE's confusion of what's your observed phenomena. I mean, it's like a parrot. You're like a parrot.
Zanuck, you're my buddy, Zanuck. You're my buddy, okay? You got to think about effectiveness. Okay, you're not going to be effective. You, on top of Chris and Scott, already saying things to him. He's not going to be hearing what you're saying, that you're going a mile a minute.
I think you
Jumping on
heard
it.
it.
He's not taking in any information you're giving him.
I think all three of us
So-
made the point, rammed it home. I think he's got it up his ass.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's the whole point I'm making. Is that what
Well,
you just think you did, you did not just do. That's
He
what I
didn't
mean.
do anything because he doesn't even know what he's talking about. You have to have your dependent variable in your
No,
hypothesis.
you don't, Jeremy.
No, you
Wrong.
don't.
Your hypothesis
Dumb.
states your
That's
No,
stupid.
it doesn't have to do that, Jeremy. You're wrong. You think it has to, but it doesn't have to. Your hypothesis can be quite general. You could say something like, you could literally be as general as this. You could say, I hypothesize that radio activity is going to cause malfunctions in this particular kind of system. Then your dependent variable might be specific to what malfunction you've come up with or you want to test for. But your hypothesis could be much more general than that. So you don't have to name it in your hypothesis.
Yeah,
You could have radiation
there's no
will cure
phenomena.
cancer, or sorry, will make you healthier.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good one. That's a much better one. Thank you, Howard.
Yeah, radio waves cause cancer. That could be your hypothesis.
Perfect.
How do you?
We
And
have
then
a
your
cause and
dependent variable
effect.
might be T blood cells that are going, that
Could
indicate
be all
cancer or
sorts of
something like
things.
that.
Could be all sorts of
Exactly.
dependent variables. Millions of them. Infinite.
The causing
that's-
cancer
Jimmy,
would
so
be
that's how it
the
works right
causing
there. That's
cancer.
exactly
The
correct.
causing cancer.
No, you're
the causing
again,
cancer. Jesus Christ.
That's exactly what's
The
correct. What he
causing
just told you,
cancer-
Jeremy. Instead of resisting it, you should just try to open yourself up
you
to
just
it
went
and
on with a
learn
big
something new,
spiel, and now
Jeremy.
you're gonna just keep talking. Like, when is it gonna
I'm just
end?
trying to help you,
Is
Jeremy.
it
I'm
ever
trying to
gonna
help
end?
and
Are you
give you
ever
an
gonna
intellectual
stop talking,
hug.
Beach?
This is called the
Are you
hug of
ever gonna
learning.
Stop talking.
I'm giving you a big bear hug of learning,
You're
Jeremy.
still going.
This
You're
is
still going.
Yes, it's called the bear hug of learning. Are you feeling
tough love.
it?
It's
You
tough
feel the
love.
learn?
Break, and I thought it was my turn to talk, and now you're still talking.
Why did this guy think he's
climb the
in
river.
control of the server?
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Chris, nobody even cares about you.
I don't give a fuck.
Jeremy, just make your point, though, Jeremy.
You stated your dependent variable was causing cancer.
No, he
That's
didn't.
your dependent
No, he
variable. It's
didn't.
right in your
That's
hypothesis.
not the dependent
Cancer.
variable. We've said it 4 different times through 3 different people, and you still don't get it.
This is a
your whole
motherfucker.
thing
He couldn't do
your whole
Pythagoras
thing
until
was it doesn't-
Curve taught him how to do it, and now he thinks he's some fucking sort of scientist who can do. It's now a measurement. It's not an experiment anymore because I fucking showed him up for his fucking bullshit.
Your whole point was that your dependent variable didn't.
My
have
whole
to
point
meet
is you're a
hypothesis,
fucking
and
cunt,
then you gave
Jeremy.
me- Jesus Christ.
Chris.
Then your hypothesis had the dependent variable in it. So what
Stop
was your
it,
point?
Jeremy, with this fucking hypothesis and dependent variable crap. It's stupid. You're just sounding like an idiot. More than you did before.
You just try to remember that from his
All right,
perspective, he's only
all
one
right.
person. He's responding to all 3 of you guys. So
Okay, gotcha.
I'm not responding to Chris.
Jeremy, can you please decouple your dependent variable with your observed phenomena?
Did you say
And your
decouple?
hypothesis? You decouple it, yeah. Get it out of your mind. Can you just keep it toward the experiment? You understand that we use experiments to prove the hypothesis or to validate our hypothesis.
Oh, he said prove.
Right?
We prove things with experiments.
No,
I know we do, Zanuck.
Well,
I know we
I
do.
use that term, stop it. I use that
Shout
term.
out to
loosely.
Zanuck for proving
Validate.
things with experiments.
Hold on.
Oh my
Validate-
God, Jeremy just
Talk
jumped
over me,
in.
Jeremy. You validate the
Zanuck.
hypothesis with these experiments. It's very simple. And in
Zanuck,
these
you gotta
experiments,
be spy master tonight and use decouple as a clue. Thank you.
stop it, Jeremy. In these experiments that will validate your hypothesis, you do have the independent variable. I mean, independent and dependent variables, which are interrelated. We know how they're interrelated. We have to go over that. But just stop saying we have a hypothesis that was your dependent variable. That's just asinine. Just stop doing
You
that.
have to have a dependent and independent
No, you
variable
don't.
in order to even
No,
have a
you
hypothesis.
don't.
It's
In the
ridiculous
experiment you
thinking
do.
you don't.
In the experiment you do, not in the hypothesis. The hypothesis is just stories.
How do you know what your experiment is going to be?
Jeremy. It's an
How do you
educated
know what your
guess.
experiment is going to be
That's
unless
a
you
great
have your
question,
hypothesis
Jeremy.
states?
Jeremy, that's a
Your
great
No,
question.
you just talk, Zanuck. Let me go.
Okay, one of you at a time. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, how long do you want to talk for? I can't listen to a 5-minute monologue, then I say 2 sentences, and then you do another 5-minute monologue. Now, your hypothesis will clearly state what you think the cause of the effect is, and then you go on with the experiment to test it. That's how you know what you're testing, is by your hypothesis.
Okay.
You're testing the cause to see if
I
it is
see
the
the problem.
cause of the effect.
No,
There is no problem. The problem is
Can I
with you.
speak?
You
Can I
need to
speak?
search within.
Can I speak? So yes, this is the problem, and this is QE's problem with a lot of these topics, is the dual meanings of certain words. Yes, there's a cause and effect relationship. That's not the synonymous with the cause and effect in the experiment, the dependent-independent variable relationship in the experiment. They're different. Even though they use the same words, they have different meanings. In a hypothesis, you talk about a general cause and effect relationship, but that's not the dependent-independent variable of the experiment. The experiments will validate the hypothesis. They're not the same. I mean, I don't know how to make it any more clear than that.
I'm hoping that you also notice, Jeremy, that we don't need to naturally observe phenomena based upon the radiation caused or microwave radiation causing cancer or cell phones causing cancer. We don't have to observe it. We can just hypothesize.
I mean, cell phones don't cause cancer and haven't been shown to cause cancer.
Right, but yeah, so there's no observed phenomenon, but we could still check and see. We could do
Well,
an
there's a lot
experiment.
of studies. There's a lot of studies that actually say that that's the hypothesis that it does, and so they all have all these experiments and have their test data and they're blind studies, and then they will either prove or validate or not validate their hypothesis. In most cases, it's not been validated, so it's very weak.
Oh, we almost said it twice. You know, science.
You know, people say proving something all the time. You know what I mean? I try to be
proving. I know exactly what you mean.
You don't prove anything in science. You don't prove anything in science. You validate your hypothesis in science.
Yeah.
Okay?
Every time you say
Don't be
validate, you mean
don't be so. God dang it, Jeremy! Come on.
Jeremy, why are you doing that? You know that what he means by it, and so
he means prove things, but he just doesn't want to say it because you guys, your guys' science, the science you guys are using doesn't prove shit because it's pseudoscience. That's why you're scared to use the. That's why you're scared to use the word.
And we're using words pedantically, and he's very concerned with the way he uses the word because he knows what it actually means, and we know what it means colloquially to you. To you, it means exactly what we're saying when we say we've substantiated it or validated it or whatever. But to you, or to Zanuck, when you say proof, it means a very, very definite thing. So he's not using that word.
It's all
he's not using, but it doesn't help to communicate with you.
It's all conditional.
He's not using that word. He's not using that word
Every time
he knows that.
I correct him. Every time I use the word, I correct myself and said validate. You take it. Oh, see, I got you. Like a gotcha moment for you. Don't do that. We're trying to be, be human here and have a conversation, which is great, challenging, right? At least. The point I was trying to make
is that I know why you're scared to use the word.
You started talking about
Zanuck,
real phenomena. I was still in the middle.
Zanuck, you know that guy Aaron?
Right.
Zanuck, you know that guy Aaron from Brandon's?
Phase one.
Yeah, phase one. I'm trying to organize a debate between Rumpus and Zanuck. You guys can be on the same team versus James and Aaron. No mods.
Seriously?
No mods.
Yeah, no mods. So it's just going to end up devolving into a shouting match. No, why would anybody do that?
Whoever stops talking first, their side loses.
Jeremy, you know that these guys in science that they say that they've yet to falsify their hypothesis, and they respect the confidence level of which it is. It's when they say prove, you don't get to pretend that they're saying 100% when they're not.
I mean, even your
boiling. The thing is, hold on. Let me respond to Don quick. The thing is, Don, when you do this science thing correctly, you have validated. You've proven your null or your alternative hypothesis. So there's no question once you're done that you've manipulated your independent variable, and you know that this effect is caused by the cause.
All right.
All right.
100%.
So what I wanted to say is, even with your boiling
100%. It's proven. Sorry.
Even with your boiling water experiment, you were under the impression with your experiment that water boils at 212 degrees. But then you found out that it actually can get superheated and go way above boiling. So it's always conditional. You never.
I'm still waiting to see that. Let's see it.
They showed it to you. The microwaves have boiling water in them.
I never DM it to me. I never saw it.
It was DM to you.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, he'll still never see it.
DM it to me, and I might see it.
And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to say you're 100% on that. You can't possibly be.
100%. If you've done it right.
You can't be.
Absolutely 100%.
How do you know you've accounted for all the variables?
Well, you know that your variable that you pick, your independent variable, you know that it will affect having a cause on the effect.
Right, but you can't be sure there isn't something else having a cause on the effect.
There could be something.
You might have also just gotten lucky, Jeremy. It's possible that you just got short. No, you're not. You could have gotten coincidentally lucky. It might have been every time you change your independent, the dependent changed for some other reason you don't know, coincidentally.
And the other
you manipulate your independent variable. That's why they're scared.
Well, no, but Jeremy, did you hear what I said?
When you do it correctly,
I just explained why that's not true. It could be that what's happening is coincidence and you don't realize it.
Plus, an example of it being done correctly, according to you, is Riley and his egg, which shows absolutely that you aren't proving things.
Exactly. And Jeremy, you also said something that I didn't call you out on. You said, when you get all this proofs and all this validation, then you prove the alternative hypothesis. Where'd that come from? The alternative hypothesis? Who even mentioned that? The null hypothesis?
The the other point I wanted to make was that you keep telling us that we're scared to use this method, but you would agree, I think, and Quantum Eraser, I know, would agree, that this isn't the only way of knowing things.
Yeah, no, I didn't say you're scared to use that method. You're scared to use the word prove, because the way you guys do science, you're not manipulating an independent variable, so you have no idea.
You
That's not true,
of
Jeremy.
the cause of the effect.
That's not true, Jeremy. You're just so wrong.
I know everyone's triggered and spiraling right now.
Ridiculous.
Just hold on.
Guys, think about
Just
it. Jeremy
hold on.
said two things to him, and Xander said things to him. He's trying to respond to something.
Yeah.
I know, but he's
That's
just
why-
saying lies. It's annoying.
It's not lies. You don't.
We use independent variables, Jeremy. You know we do. Stop being ridiculous.
You're just being stupid, Jeremy. We've already talked about
Kosho,
this.
what's the independent variable for Foucault pendulum?
Foucault's pendulum is not. Well, first of all, it's the latitude.
Is it processing
latitude,
due to Earth
Jeremy.
rotation?
You change the latitude.
Is it processing due to
Latitude,
Earth rotation?
Jeremy, latitude.
Yes, latitude
Is
the
it
independent
processing
variable.
due to Earth rotation?
Latitude is the independent
Yes.
variable.
So not Earth rotation.
this
Nothing
needs
to
to
do
be
with
latitude.
This
You're confusing the cause and effect relationship of the experiment or the hypothesis. See, we just got done telling you probably 10 times already. Hold on, 10 times already. The difference between the cause and effect relationship in your story and the cause and effect relationship in the experiment. You just conflated those together.
Okay.
Showed you're
Back
not
away
listening,
from
Jeremy.
The retard.
It's a very simple. It's a very simple explanation, Jeremy. I've said it to you the other night.
Let him be a retard.
And Stone's trying to talk over it. It's a very
Gonna
simple
be
explanation,
okay.
Jeremy. You have to actually.
Jeremy's gonna be a retard.
I can't hear
Be
you.
okay, guys.
This guy.
Forget what
I'm
Stone's
trying to
saying.
hear what you're saying, but
Someone's
Stone
talking
keeps
over
talking
you,
over.
Only listen. I'm only going to say it very quickly one time.
Let's hope Stone doesn't
And
interrupt.
We'll say it again. The cause and effect relationship that's being spoken to that needs to be there. It's not the cause and effect relationship of the effect of what you're trying to find overall of the phenomena you're discovering. The cause and effect relationship is strictly about the independent variable and the dependent variable, meaning the independent variable has to be the thing that changes the dependent variable. That's all it's meant. So when you ask what the independent variable is, that's why Scott said the latitudes.
Sure. So we know latitude. Hold
And
on.
outcome.
Hold on. So we know latitude changes the precession in the Foucault pendulum. Beyond that, you don't have anything else. You don't know.
Of course you do. Then you can start saying, well, why would that happen?
We don't know because we don't have
we do
any
know
information.
because rotation is affected by latitude also, or rotation affects latitude, or vice versa.
And then we would have another
You
experiment.
don't even know what you're saying, Veach.
Yes, I do. Don't be stupid, Jeremy. It's like when you come in and you're such a child, it's just so annoying.
You just gotta step away.
You have to understand that the prediction was made before the Foucault's pendulum was used.
Exactly.
So they kind of had an idea of what would happen.
Moyak's point is exactly correct. That's what validates your hypothesis, is that the independent variable does change the dependent variable, but also you've predicted what the dependent variable would be based on your hypothesis, which you have to know the size of the Earth, the fact that it's a sphere, what equation you use to tell you how the latitude is going to affect your the rate at which it processes. So the fact that you can make that prediction and you get it correct validates your hypothesis, which was based on the Earth being a globe.
If Jeremy ever stopped just being, he's so stuck in ego of the fact that he's gone too far down this road, and so he just cannot possibly allow himself to be wrong at this point. But if he spent half as much energy on just trying to understand where the small mistakes are, he'd be so much further along. It's just crazy that he resists every single turn.
It's a lot harder from his perspective than we're giving him credit for.
But why?
Because of the amount, because of us, because of the way we're bombarding.
But you know what? That's not really that fair, because he also contributes quite a lot, and he knows he does. He comes in and he riles people up or whatever. But the other thing is, he hears how those guys are. He hears how little sense they are. When he has a point to make, and he's talking to David, he suddenly can see how completely unreasonable that people will be on the flatter side. And then when we give him answers and reasons, he just sidesteps them constantly. He never actually engages with them in a direct way. He just keeps reverting to his rhetoric. So he must know he's doing that when he gets annoyed at other people for doing that to him. I feel like
engage him. Would he still be?
I feel like it's ego.
Of attention, Scott.
I think
that's true.
It's reptilian instincts. It's
There's-
immediately
yeah.
reacting to what he now is being the stimulus he's being bombarded with. Like people attacking him at the same time as somebody else asking him questions. It's probably not the easiest thing.
Yeah, he wouldn't get 5,
Oh,
6,
sure.
7, 8 people, 8 intelligent people, and yelling at
The
him.
point
He
is,
just
the point is, when I'm talking, I'm making sense, and when some of these guys are talking, they're not making any sense.
Okay, I'd like to give you an objective perspective, Jeremy. The first part of it was a little over exaggerated and generalized, but right there at the end, when you were actually, attacking the specific demonstration of the pendulum.
He's not attacking anything specific. He never is. He's just doing rhetoric.
Sorry but he was getting, I just want to say he was getting a little more specific there. And when that type of situation is happening, if the honest ballers who are definitely being honest and talking about we're not proving it to 100% confidence, if you could show a little more skepticism when he's actually going down that road. Now, Jeremy, you did claim you are.
That's not what
But Jeremy, you are adversarial claiming it doesn't prove. Talk about it a little more, because your point right there is where you want to be in the discussion of saying how strong their variables and their falsifications have been. But guys, when he turned, you just go, well, what else could it be? When you guys turn around and say that to him, if you could be a little more respectable on,
fuck
maybe.
off, man.
Yeah, because
I don't know what you're saying.
the other night, Kosho was acting like. The other night, Kosho and Rumpus were acting like they had science to prove that the Foucault pendulum was due to Earth rotation, and then they want to give me latitude change independent variables.
Well, I'm going to give you latitude.
I did as well.
And latitude is an
So did
independent variable.
Rumpus. All three of you.
Well, it's a good independent variable. That is the independent variable if you're checking for dependent variable of precession.
Yeah, but when we're looking for the cause of the effect.
Well, if you change the latitude, you're also changing the rate of rotation on a sphere.
No, there has to be
That's
something.
a claim. That's a claim.
That's not a claim. That's a fact. If you're on a sphere,
claim.
Just listen, Jeremy. If you're on a sphere, yes. So
if,
listen to my thing. So let me finish what I'm saying.
You don't know we are.
Listen to my whole sentence. If you're on a sphere, then you change your latitude. You also change your rate of rotation. So you're changing your rate of rotation if you're on a sphere when you change latitude. It's a standard for rate of rotation.
This isn't called an affirming the consequent fallacy.
No, it's not, because that's the whole.
Yes.
Look, it's not saying it's proving that it's that, but then you check to see, does the rate of rotation affect the precession as predicted? It does. Oh, look, it's precessing. Now you have to ask yourself.
It's called affirming the consequent.
No, it isn't. And now you have to ask yourself, is it possible? Is it quite likely that the fact that I was changing this dependent or independent variable is the thing that's causing it to precess, or is it something coincidental? And that's what I was trying to explain to you before, which is always a possibility, which is where you check in to see, do I meet my standard of statistical significance or not?
An Aether mechanism would cause that to happen as well.
It wouldn't, though. Not if you change your latitude. It would not at all cause that to happen.
What?
Well, because why would the ether be
Beast
exactly
knows
the
all
same
about
as
the
the
fucking
rotation
ether
based
somehow.
on latitude? Just coincidentally.
If there was
What kind of sense does that make?
if there was an outside shell rotating around the, for instance.
Don, there's no precession at the equator. Zero.
Again, if you had a shell of Aether around your sphere and
you hear what I said?
Man, if you don't want to fucking brainstorm, you don't have to brainstorm. Never mind.
It doesn't.
Let's not talk over
Don.
Well, how would the ether even affect the pendulum, Don?
All right, so again, that's I understand it. How would it do it? But if you had a box, and inside the box you had a sphere, and in between the sphere and the edges of the box there was the Aether, and that stuff was just moving in a perfect cylindrical cyclone around, I bet it would kind of match a latitude thing. I bet it would.
Maybe so, but how would it affect the pendulum?
Again, that obviously we don't know that, and I'm saying that's weak, and I'll admit how weak that is. But I just want to say the latitude correlation is.
How much you want to bet, Don? I'll bet you this: you can't construct a model in any way, shape, or form that would accomplish what you just claimed you would bet it could do. I'll bet you that.
Okay, sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you feel that way.
We'll do it.
I bet he's right, though. Don. I bet it isn't as simple as just making a rotating shell.
It probably wouldn't be a cyclone. It probably would have to be a little bit more bubbled out 3D, definitely, or something.
You can't come up with anything.
Okay, cool curved.
I will say,
You can't, Don. You're dead
Well,
wrong.
Curve, what I can do is I can admit that I'm not confident that people on your side have even tried to come up with anything. And I don't think you are either.
That's
And
a
I think
challenge,
on
Don.
the Dunning-Kruger scale here, you would be misplaced.
You're stating this as a possibility, and you cannot even come up with a plausible demonstration of the flow that would be required to reproduce what we can witness in reality, Don. You can't do it. It's contradictory. It's impossible.
It's called relative motion, Curve.
How much of that were you fucking talking over?
It's called relative motion. If the other piece was moving, if space was moving instead of us, right, and that space moving was the thing that was causing the pendulum, then yes, it would be a pure contrast.
It wouldn't necessarily work the same at all. I think if you really try to model it, you'll find that that's not true. Because you'd have to have little mini cyclones in exactly the right spots everywhere, and it just doesn't make sense. But don't forget also, Don, on our side, we already have established through experimentation that ether doesn't exist. We already know that as a fact. So it's not, when we say, you say that we're not really being reasonable and fair, but we already have that in our back pocket. So it's not even really worth time to talk about.
Who that called unreasonable? I didn't mean to call y'all that. I don't know who I said was unreasonable or unfair.
Why are you shitting on 2,000 years of science? Why do you even
Hey guys, hey, I'd like to address the room. I'd like to challenge M. Stone for the room, if the room would allow me. I challenge M. Stone to claim. I challenge you to claim one piece of science I've shitted on, M. Stone. I challenge you to back up what that bullshit just came out of your mouth was. What piece of science have I shitted on, buddy?
Do you accept the challenge, Stone?
Sure. What challenge is this?
He said
challenge where I'd make you look more ridiculous than you already look. Okay.
I mean, I could. Scott has one just now, but regardless, I understand where Don's coming from now.
I'm not shitting on him.
I understand, man. Listen, this is the consequences of the multiple vectors of attacks. Because Curve was saying something to him, Scott was saying something to him, and Stone is.
Call IT then.
So let him address at least one person at a time, and then.
If he thinks I'm the easy road out,
Can we have a deadline? I have to straighten out like within.
I'm just trying to steel man Jeremy's point a little bit. That's all that's happening here. I'm not shitting on any science.
Hey,
it's not happening,
bro.
Jesus.
A steel man's stupidity.
He's really not. He was. Listen, he was going down the road to where Beach went anyway, where it said we've disproven either anyway. I mean, it's like, what's wrong with Steelman in that? Like, what's wrong with getting to the have we really disproven either argument? What's wrong?
Continue steelmanning that great argument there.
It's like, well, up until a point, he's right. I'm sorry that he doesn't. We don't like it, Jeremy. Even though it could be something else, what's wrong with having a high confidence level with them that it really could be the Earth rotation? Oh, is he gone?
Here, man.
Oh man, damn it. That's what I think is weird. Is like if you guys can make that tiny, less than 1% concession, even, but then ask for the other 90% agreements. That's where it should happen, right there. Right.
Maybe, man. I don't think it's about concessions. It's like, for instance, when we were talking with you about let's say the universal frame versus the relative frames, that in that case is not a concession, like a battle, like who's right, who's wrong. That's actually how it's explained. Like that this is what's understood. So the only way for a valid counter argument to that would be you overturning, that stuff in physics. So it's not really a concession-based thing in that regard.
Can I ask you a hypothetical? Is it okay to think that the outside universe perspective of God or whatever, just outside universe perspective is possible if you hypothetical the ability to zoom in at any one spot at any time and multiple spots and then compare them to each other? Isn't that kind of hypothetically creating that objective?
Hypothetically, yeah, you can hypothetically come up with that. The problem is, even in the hypothetical thing you're making up, explaining how that would work is still not within the realms of what we can do. Like if you understood the way that relativity works and then you also try to do that, you'd have a lot of things that you would have a hard time coming up with, like what it means to be going at millions and millions of miles per hour in reference to this universal frame.
Right.
When
That's why we could talk about it in better, and like if you can suspend that relativity constraint, right, and you can start to talk about, oh well, I'm zooming into this and I zoomed into that, and similar things should be happening maybe, but different things are happening. Now you actually respect the different physical attributes that are happening in these different parts of space-time, like the gravity, the amount of gravity that's there, or the speed at which it's moving, or you get what I'm saying? And using this hypothetical perspective, you can contrast the things by talking about them on more of a, atomic physics level or whatever, instead of this theoretical level. But I appreciate your time.
Picture this hypothetical that